Kelly, what I'm super excited about, and I've already seen this in EU, NA East, and now I'm going to see this in NA West again, is trios preparing themselves after day number 1, right? Making sure they earn themselves enough, like of a spot, a nest egg, if you will, enough of a cushion or barrier to say, like, okay, we've got points. We got to go into day number 2 with double points. We have to make sure we set ourselves up for success. How are you feeling about the double point format?
Well, if you think of it mathematically, and I believe actually Sundown was talking about this earlier, is that day 1 is kind of 1/3 of the competition, with day 2 being 2/3 of the competition there. So although it does give you a nice little nest egg, as you said, they do really need to look to day 2 as obviously the more important day. That's double the points there. But out of all these teams that we have, who does better on the second day? Well, unfortunately, it's kind of hard to say because almost all of the teams that we saw in our top for the Season 8 are no longer a full trio anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's correct. Even when you talk about Rex, Arcrum, and Epic Whale, they're not together. They won so many FNCSs together, but they decided to split. So now instead of Rex, they have Reet. So many huge changes to the trios. It's going to be super interesting to see how all of it unfolds here, because again, this is a fresh, unique take to trios that we haven't seen on the West Coast, because this has been the first massive shakeup here on the region.
We're going to touch on these trios in just a minute. First, really quickly, let's see what's on the line here. $105,000. That's right. For the trio that walks away in that number 1 spot. But as I will always tell you viewers, some of you that have been with us all day long, you've already heard me say this twice. Even if you don't come first, it's okay to say make it in the top 5, right? If you could go from like 33rd to 5th, look at the difference in prize money there, right? This is the Grand Royale, baby. This is life-changing amount of money. So all these trios will absolutely be looking to place as high as possible. Now, of course, if you can walk away the winner, dope. But otherwise, you're still looking to climb as high as you possibly can. Okay, let's talk about these trios. So you guys already know about the duos for next year, so this is the last time we'll be seeing trios. So let's kind of talk about this and break this down. Rex, Epic Whale, and Arcrum, this trio that has been dominant literally all year long, right? If you've heard about Fortnite, I'm sure you've heard about this trio. Well, now they're changing things up. They're actually duoing with Reet. So Arcrum and Reet. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about the next trio we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about these kind of like at the same time. Rex, Snacky, Favs, right? So the other trio that finally dethroned them, now they've said, like, okay, we're just going to pull one of these numbers, and now we're just going to change up one person. Kelly, this feels like a dynasty. That's what this feels like. This feels like a power move. Hey, we've been dominant at the top. Hey, this other trio just finally beat us. Why don't we just send one of ours over there, and then we'll just own the top 2 spots always? That's what this feels like.
I'm a little confused by the decision here. Obviously, when you've been so strong for so long, winning 4 seasons back to back to back, such as Arcrum, Rex, and Epic Whale have done, they see Reet. They obviously see that they're beaten. But by the way, they were beaten by a lot. They were beaten by, I think, 15 points. They already got 2nd place anyway, which is a great performance. The most consistent performance that we've seen out of all 3 major regions ever. So I'm a little confused why they would do that. Reet, I think, worked really well with Snacky and Fav specifically because he's so aggressive. But to have him join Epic Whale and Arcrum, where instead Rex is now joining Snacky and Favs, I personally think that they're actually the weaker team out of the 2.
You know what? This is interesting.
I like this.
Right? Because, again, Reet is a power. We know him well. We've seen him do incredible things on multiple regions, right? But when you throw Rex in the dynamic of Snacky and Favs, that's also extremely unique too, because again, the role that's 7 and before was that top tier fragger, and Rex fills that role just like Reet did. So it really boils down to who will be able to come out on top and who will be able to formulate a better game plan based on where they're going to be, because we just saw the POIs there, Believer Beach, and a bit of a split there for Snacky, Favs, and Rex. So it's going to be very unique take here for these teams. But will we see an upset of the champs, or will Kelly have something else to say?
Well, who is the champs? Is it Epic Whale and Arcrum now? Because technically Snacky and Favs are 2 out of the 3. first place teams from the last game. So wouldn't it be argued to say that they're kind of the champs now? Obviously, when you look at longevity, you look to Arcrum, Rex, and Epic Whale. But to me, although I will say that the synergy is there for Epic Whale, Arcrum, and REIT, anytime that there was four-mans squad tournaments for third parties, they would always pick up REIT, and it would be those four together. So there definitely is synergy there. But I truly think that Rex, like you said, being that powerhouse, but more contained, because where Snacky, Favs, and REIT fell short in Season 8 was that over-aggression. We constantly saw REIT getting kind of pulled out as a solo a lot of times and then going down where Snacky and Favs would have to save them. Can Epic Whale and Arcrum do that for REIT the way that Snacky and Favs was? And with Rex stepping in now as the fragger, and he's way more safe than REIT, I think that this is probably the most even competition that we've seen in NA West.
I love it. I love it. You can tell we've used a lot of time to talk about these trios because it's weird. It's strange. It's a dynasty forming. We'll see. But we're going to quickly move through because we have a few things we want to talk about before we can get into these games. Let's switch gears. Falconer, Kadenox, 4DR Storm. Another trio we've heard quite a lot about. Talk to me about this trio, friends.
I mean, they're a great team. Obviously, Falconer, Kadenox, and 4DR Storm on their own right are all incredible players where they've constantly made it into the finals for a lot of FNCSs. And in fact, Falconer has played with both 4DR and Kadenox separately plenty of times in trios and other competitions. But this is the first time that they're all playing together. I think the first time that they actually played together as a trio was the Trios Cash Cup just about 2 weeks ago. So they're a pretty new team. And obviously, synergy is very important, but individually, all incredible players.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly said it best. They are incredible players coming together here in these moments, and they have a lot of potential. That's why we wanted to talk about them here in the beginning of the show.
Okay, I like it. Quick. Let's go quick. Why should we be keeping our eyes on them?
Well, they placed third in Season 8, so that's a pretty good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they were one of the only teams, or the only team that was challenging REIT, Snacky, and Favs the entire way through Season 8. You have to remember, Arcrum, Rex, and Epic Whale came back very late in the competition, but Symmetrical, Wavy Jacob, they were there. They were on the heels of REIT and Co. the entire time to take that top 3 spot. So, I mean, respect to them, and they do have a lot of potential today.
I love it. Let's do my favorite part. Let's use the Telestrator, baby. Let's talk about a few POIs. I got 2 for you. We're going to kick things off with Caddy Corner. We have Falconer versus Godku going head-to-head at Caddy Corner. We already know this is a problem POI, right? People love to fight out, and inevitably one team will fall. But the question is, who will fall, Kelly? Is it Falconer's trio or is it Godku's trio?
So 4DR, although he wasn't playing with Falconer and Kadenox last season, did actually land in Caddy Corner. And there was a lot of, they didn't really do well individually either, so I'm not too certain. But Falconer definitely has the experience here, Panda.
Well, especially with a POI like this, it's so hard to split this area between the gas station. Different, obviously, when you utilize weather station, but here you only have main building and gas station. So to split these two areas is very, very difficult for two teams to come out successfully. So it's going to be tough to see who ends up coming out on top. But if they do begin to fight here and they take these engagements, they need to do it quickly, they need to loot quickly, and they need to rotate.
Squares, right, kind of indicating these are one of the few areas that you can kind of occupy, right, as a trio. And then there's only one other spot, right? So your trio's going to pick one, their trio's going to pick one, and you're going to battle it out and see who walks away. Last POI, we're going to talk about Steamy Stacks. We got Quinn versus Dragon. So similar situation and similar question here, Kelly. I mean, I personally don't know too much about Dragon, but I feel like Quinn and company have been performing very, very well, right? So I feel like this should go to Quinn, but I'm excited to see from Dragon.
So, Quinn, Wave, and Cool did land Steamy Stacks in Season 8, uncontested, and they placed 18th. Now, to be fair, Corny Crops, there was REIT's team, which is the team that won, and obviously a lot of those rotations do go towards the center and even south zones, so they always kind of had to face them or face a lot of other teams. The Northeast region was so congested. The fact that they're now being contested by a newer team definitely is going to be putting some pressure on them, Panda.
Yeah, I could agree more. And Steamy Stacks is probably the most, or one of the most difficult POIs to make work for you when you are contested, because there are so many locations that you can loot, but they're kind of spread out, right? So you can either take that right side with that one building with your whole team, or you can have the better advantage, take the left side with multiple buildings But either way, there's a lot of areas around this that people rotate from and begin to contest. So it's very, very difficult when you're contested here to come out on top. We'll see how these players end up doing. But honestly, if I'm going to have to pick one between the two, I think Quinn, the veteran in that space, understands Steamy Stacks probably a little bit better than the other team. So Quinn, Wave, Cool, I think they're going to come out on top.
Yeah, I'm excited just to see kind of like them being pitted against another trio that's going to contest them, right? I want to see if they've taken this experience they've gained and if they can put that to use, right? But we'll find out over the next 2 days. So let's really quickly talk about predictions. We've got about 2 minutes before we jump aboard the battle bus. So let's talk through the trios we think could walk away your overall winners. So for the first time in NA West, Kelly is by herself in predictions. I get my own prediction, and it looks like it's all of us versus Kelly.
Listen.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm listening.
If you look at these two teams right here, clearly these are the two best teams in NA West, to the point where when one player leaves, the other player from the other team moves over to them because they want to be with the best team. But Snacky, Favs, and Rex, not only Snacky and Favs walked away first place out of Season 8, beating out Epic Whale and Arcrum, not only was Reet the more volatile, risky player to have on their team, which is no longer there, but they also got first place in the load session for this tournament. So, yeah, man, I'm going to go for them.
And this is what it boils down to. Snacky and Favs, they're at an all-time high right now. They're at the best peak performance we've seen from them as players. It really boils down to how Rex steps up to the plate and fills that role. Rex had a bit of a lackluster performance in the Season 8 FNCS, and it kind of was part of the results in factor in why they didn't take the top spot there in that season. So for me, that's why I just didn't have enough faith in Rex in that moment. However, there is still potential. I respect Kelly's decision there. Normally, obviously, we go back and forth, but this time I can respect her in going with that pick for sure.
A lot of times when you look at Reet, you go like, oh, that's the team that's going to have the most amount of eliminations. They only got 68 eliminations. Yes, only 7 games played in the load session. But Rex, Snacky, and Favs had 100 eliminations. In fact, one of those games that you got 6 eliminations. So they're not running into storm surge issues, which is something that Epic Whale and Arcrum over in Believer Beach constantly run into. So yeah, it's going to be Rex, Snacky, and Favs. I'm calling it right now.
Production, let's have a backup graphic ready to go to change mine to Kelly's prediction if things go wrong. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. The battle bus beep beep. Fortnite fam, you can tell this is a very difficult conversation, right? There's two opposing trios that really could go either way, but it's time to kick off the competition. We got 2 casters for you. It's Clay, it's Sundown, and we've got games. Friends, over to you.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Kelly, and Panda. And what's up, Fortnite fam? My name's Sundown, joined by Clay Stelling to close out the action here over in NA West for the Grand Royale. Clay, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am so excited after watching those games, the setup for tomorrow for a lot of these regions, and that double point day. Ooh, I cannot wait to see what NA West brings. And of course, that shakeup at the top. Got to keep our eyes on that to see how it sets up these duos going forward.
Yeah, it's all about the 2 Titans switching up, swapping a member over, and what will happen up there as we drop into match number 1 here in the Grand Royale. Don't forget, we will be playing 12 matches total, but the pacing in terms of the points is going to be a little bit different. As we hop into game number 1, we got Falconer in the top right-hand corner, Godvro in the bottom right-hand corner, and a nice, pretty much right down the middle bus path from north to south to get us started.
And interestingly enough, we see someone going for that pyramid drop. I like to see someone going for it. We didn't really see it last season with the last season of the FNCS with it just being the convergence, but now a little bit more. Wheels already going down. Falconer going to be the one. Again, they are going to be contested. We knew this coming into it. We know that they are going to be good to go, but are they going to be able to get any loot? They both landed on top of each other. They're all in the same area. K-Nox going to go down 40R. Does have chug splashes so he can get back up, but that immediate loss of K-Nox is going to be so bad.
Yeah, it's really tough when you end up down a member in what we talk about sometimes as a coin flip fight, but a lot of it depends on what weapons drop where and how you're able to make the push. And 40R Storm really doesn't get the benefit out of anything there. He'll be able to back up and at least pick up a pump, so now he can fight defensively. But with just the SMG, no first shot accuracy, and not a ton to really put pressure on these players who are just standing out in the open, you can't really abuse the fact that they have no builds. Falcon are now going down. It's all going to be on the veteran. There's just nothing to be done there. Even a little bit of an L dance thrown out there by Fikwe as he picks up all 3 eliminations. That's 6 points for him there.
A little bit of insult to injury there. They say, I got you down to take the L as well. Love to see just a little bit of back and forth there. We know that's going to continue throughout the rest of the 11 games. I'm sure we'll see an L dance from the opposite team once or twice. As we move over to Craggy Cliffs, we've got Izo and company looking to use some of these newer weapons this season to their advantage. That beautiful sniper rifle is so powerful, so big, and just so good at quick damage, but you have to be good at hitting your shots. In the meantime, we see Rich Homie Quinn going down. Panda talked about how they were his pick to win, but unfortunately right now, out of that drop spot rather, unfortunately now going down a little bit earlier.
And you can see the situation, a little bit of an awkward standoff. Craggy Cliffs, particularly when you are contested. And this north to south split is really weird because there is a natural high ground. But as you can see, Naru showing, there's like no materials on the northern part of Craggy that you can farm up even remotely quickly. Like you're stuck hitting walls, which give you like +3 and +4 brick going through. As you can see, they're going to hit the bed and get like 2 more builds. And that's about the most fishing you can get. But he's going to be able to get a drop and he makes it pay. That's 75 damage going over real quick. That feels good.
That's a great find there. Just being aware and paying attention will get you a lot of damage sometimes. And didn't use a lot of ammo as well. You notice they don't have a lot, so he's being very careful. Here we go, a little bit. Used about 6 bullets there, got 50 damage. That player not even healing up. You can tell they didn't have the real HP to do it. They will pop some bandages so they can get back up, but other than that, they're going to be right back down over to 75 effective HP as pushes come through. They're really running out of time here.
And Chichen Itza is a play on words for Chichen Itza. It is a Central American temple of worship from the Aztecs, so a nice little history fact being thrown in here. But honestly, each one of these trios is trying to avoid being history in match number 1 because the situation is so tense. And if you take a look in the bottom right-hand corner, Narus luckily kind of smells that one out, checks over the horizon, and he says, we got a little bit of company. So he takes some tags. They are going to be able to get some minis here from that vending machine. That's huge for them.
It really, really is that the disengage northward will give them those shield barrels, but Elise is going to be the only one there. This is unfortunate. Elise doesn't get this elimination quickly, and that's where the 2v1 is going to punish him. He's in the same box. He's got a little bit of time, though. The third party from the hill is going to save a lot of these players. They're going to have to back out total for every member of the team there. They're trying to get together. Either side of this gets really awkward really quickly because Zone is coming in, the team from above as well. And now all of a sudden you have way too many variables in this equation and you don't really know if you're going to be able to make it out.
There's a launch pad on Olaf if they do want to try and get out of dodge, but don't forget, like, there's no way to trios coming in after you. They're going to be able to close it. And you can see Sauka, Defiable, and Kaboo just doing a little creeping, little crawling, trying to find an angle here. They know they want to get the drop here. The thing is, if they're not able to really get the first shot, I'm not sure they've identified the fact there's still another team to the north. They should know that there was at least more than one team here based off their scout dropping in. And that's going to make the smart decision, just kind of back up, grab that nice little whip, and they should continue on the rotation.
Should be great for them. be great for them. Rex will the same role as Reet, whichever way you want to word it. But it's that chemistry and synergy, and it's not like Reet hasn't played with these people before as well.
Pretty much every single one of those except Europe, and maybe there was one outlier circumstance. I know Reet qualified for at least one final all the way over in EU. So, but now flipping on over, we can see Kytrex under a little bit of pressure here. That's Nitrix who's going to be able to get the pickup here. Cash, Corker, and Nate trying to get the pressure around the outside. As we've seen so far, only 2 trios have gone down. You can see that in the top left-hand corner of your screen. We do still have 6 other players who have been taken out, pardon me, as we are down to 89. You can see here, going to get up on the wall. About tomorrow is what's going to be the big push.
Yeah, that's set up for, and honestly, tomorrow, it'll be like the opposite of a shooting. I don't know what the opposite of a shooting is, but that's where people will start to break away if they're having a great set of games. If they come out hot and they end hot, and then tomorrow they do the same. I mean, there's just not really going to be a chance to catch them. You don't really have the opportunity with how the point format works out. As we get a nice view of what's happening here, Jelty and Krizix up top, and we move over to 2/3 of the previous champions. Favs, Snacky, and now Rex joining them. The amount of titles, of FNCS titles on this trio now, as well as Arcrum, Rex, and Epic Whale, or rather Arcrum, Reet, and Epic Whale, I apologize. Insane to see.
Yeah, I mean, we've always talked about the very top part of the West being loaded. I like particularly the exchanges and the fact that it's been so close to the 1-2 punch. Snacky and Favs, when they had Kenshi as well before, they're always right towards the top. I think it was 2 second-place finishes in a row there before they're finally able to add Reet and kind of push over. And again, it was only really done right towards the end. Don't forget, like, Epic Whale, Arcrum, and Rex put on an absurd performance, the best day 2 performance ever. Like, they broke all the records for a single-day performance. Royale, but so many players ended up just falling to the zone. And if it seems like we're kind of reminiscing and setting the stage for you guys, well, that's because in the top left-hand corner, that number is not going down. There's not people who are fighting. In fact, it's going the opposite way. We've seen yet another player picked up, so we're now back up to 92. And with the second zone closing in now, we should get a storm surge warning here on the right-hand side. We'll be able to check in with some of these top trios and see who's going to be under threat, who's not, as we see Squishy's car get popped right there. They're going to take a little bit of extra damage and try to box up. Swing on over to Dog, J Roses, and Zinx. 152 above, but that number is dropping on the right-hand side, and we need 22 players to go down, Clay. So 8 trios currently going to be under pressure from that.
I want to know who some of them are. We're swapping over to one of them right now, albeit only 44 below, but we know that Arcrum and Epic Whale with Rex did struggle with Storm Surge. This is one of their biggest things. They had a plan in Season 7, they executed it, and they fell short in Season 8. I now want to see in the Grand Royale what Arcrum and Epic Whale in particular have done, because Reet always seemed to be above Surge in that last FNCS final, but will it be enough? Will they be able to find the damage in time? 57 damage, they still got a little bit more to go with the zone, as well as they've got a good amount of time, but with everyone already being based up, with everyone already being set up, look, they're just continuing to drop.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen Reet under Storm Surge, because he's either pushed somebody and been eliminated or gotten the elims he needs, or at least as we saw in the last FNCS, they were able to like, game plan around it. So as long as the other top trio, if Favs and his trio are above Storm Surge, I'm with the observers. Let's ride this one out, because I want to see how this new trio ends up reacting, right? This is kind of that first initial checklist, right? Okay, did you survive your initial drop? If yes, proceed to first Storm Surge. If you're at first Storm Surge, are you above it? Right now, the answer is no. So they're not able to proceed to play the next part of the game, and it looks like they're going to go for an ambush play. There are ghosting. They're going to hit the pad, and we saw this happen over on NA East. They're going to try and drop down directly on top of a team. So he's going to then jump vertically, right? So he's going to drop below them. He's trying to line this up. Oh, this is going to be such a good shot, but shots are spraying their way. Arkham dropping down directly on top of him. Hello! From the top rope, Arkham straight into the box. 105 going through, trying to push forward, finds the 31 tag as well. He got the Storm Surge, but now can they disengage? They aren't necessarily actually above yet. They're still below, as Reet's going to end up going down. So while he found the shots, it wasn't enough, and the damage comes through. They were too late. Reet's been taken completely out. Arkham now desperately trying to pop a heavy pot to try and get that off. Epic Whale looking for a little bit of space, but they have to keep going. Despite dropping down, it's not enough damage. We talk about too little, too late. This might be it, Clay.
Yeah, they just weren't coordinated on their push. They all went at separate times. Arkham went in, but it still wasn't enough. Really needed that finish to come on through. 57 below. They're trying to out-heal it there. Nice shots there from Epic Whale. 150. Will it be enough to put them above? Doesn't seem like it. People getting damage all around. It should update here, and it is. 118. Do they have enough to get to each other, though? 97 builds for Epic Whale. They're right on the other side, though. Arkham just out of that box, just out of reach to get back in as Flix, Lokes, and Mudio take an elimination there onto Reet. They take down one of the FNCS champions from Chapter 2, Season 8. Try to be feeling good, but somehow they're only 54 above. They're not comfortable here.
Yeah, and the one thing we talked about, how Epic Whale, he loves to over-index on heals and utility. You'll always see him with boppers. You'll always see him with minis. You'll always see him min-maxing the amount of effective HP he has. So while they aren't in a great spot here, if they are able to grab Reed's card, they're right around the outside of Weeping. There is a reboot available. They were able to get themselves above Surge. So while you kind of check that box off, there's maybe a little asterisk there. It's like, hey, maybe next time don't lose a teammate. But they are going to be able to get the disengage as we swing on over to another trio. They don't have to worry about Storm Surge right now. Storm Surge will actually turn off, keeping an eye on the top left-hand corner. Jelty's trio finding the full wipe onto Kytrix, Nitrix, and Baka being taken out, as well as Regulator picking up Nate. Puts us at 69 players, 25 trios, so still no placement points going over, as one more trio will need to drop here. Poffy, Cyrazor picking up the knocks there, not quite getting the confirmations. Yep, there they are as we talk about it. Horker also finding one, and there's the +5 points for placement.
Or depths will fall. The zone, while there's a lot of people, it feels a little empty on the side. As you can see, Symmetrical and Temple are going to be able to work their way on through. Arkham and Epic Whale in a similar situation as they found themselves earlier. The same exact team trying to be aggressive onto them. Epic Whale taking a big amount of damage there. And unfortunately, it seems like it's too big of a chunk. And, oh, he's got the flopper. They'll be able to go back up. Arkham does have a med kit. Should be good. He's got to pop it now, though. If he doesn't pop it now, he's going to go down. He waits till the right moment. Does, I think, get it off just by a millisecond, if any. But no, he's actually not going to get off because the zone is going to update and do more than the 2-tick. And unfortunately, a miscalculation there from Arkham. He went for those shots, and that cost him his life.
They're not going to be able to find it there. As the zone does close into the fourth, it goes from 2 damage a pop to then 5 damage. I mean, 5 damage is not insignificant, and Flix will just barely able to find those Chili Chug splashes. He does also have a launch pad. He needs to find the room to get it. I don't think you pop minis here. I think you need to get yourself into the zone. Will be able to find that. Now he's just trying to get a little bit of space onto the cabin, and again, solo dolo, but towards the middle here in zone number 4, we see Jay going down in the feed. That's Nate getting the full confirmation as we have 60 players left. Lush also picking one up. We'll get a view of the lobby, see who's posted up where. So we have Cuddy, Drew, and Assault up on the high ground currently, right in the middle of Weeping. You see Lush getting the confirmation there. On to Kenshi of Team 33 being taken down. You see Krizix and Jelty over on the side. Nigel, Rakatsuki looking for a little bit of space on the lower part of the cabin. We peek on over. Rex Snacky. Favs, plenty of space right now, 1 elimination to their name, but they need to be careful about this rotation. They're very far, and they're kind of in an awkward spot.
Yeah, everyone already having rotated around them except for the team behind them, and that team is going to go across the bridge more than likely. They are getting a lot of damage, so that's the power of that sniper rifle this season. The only one, we saw how quick it was. Snacky will get the down there. Snacky, though, the second for total NA West final victory royales with 8 this year. That's a lot of victory royales to get in Fortnite, and we know how valuable they really, really are. And tomorrow they're going to be even more valuable, that double points. So they're looking to set themselves up well for it. 646 damage above Surge. But you're right. Look at what they have to go through. Look at the push they've got to make.
Yeah, running straight into just a line of builds. All these players already established, but he's doing a really good job at spraying back shots when he can. Able to pick up the Elim there onto Elige. Now, it wasn't his knock, so no points coming through, but it gives them the space, right? They're able to now navigate up a layer. Snacky needs to be careful because he did just have his shields broken, so players should be able to call it out, but they're not. They just got great positioning here. They just kind of took high ground on this side, and with 3, 2, 1, the reveal of the half in, half out, it drops right on top of their head. They're in great position. You can see them immediately split the launch pads, figure it out. Only 2 trios will be under threat here of Storm Surge, and you can see they're going to try and pressure the opposite side, as now 1 trio will be under threat of Storm Surge, and that's actually the trio on the opposite side. We can see that purple lightning just to the right. Not necessarily, no, it is the team on the high ground, so they're going to be taking a bunch of damage. They're going to be forced to poke down. You see Snacky actually spraying. How? He didn't even aim that one. How is hip fire so good? That's the one thing I don't get about some of these players. They just hit nut shots.
They do. They find him out of nowhere, and the triple spray not going to go through for Snacky. Rather not go on him as well. And now they're looking to find any sort of elimination they can, right? They're 822 above. It doesn't matter. They've got 500 AR ammo. This is what you need to do. You just got to spray and keep spraying. You've got the high ground. You'll be able to make it in. You'll be able to rotate in, even though they're technically not in right now. But just keep spraying. Use as much ammo as you can right here, because if you get to this moving zone with 500 ammo, you essentially wasted your opportunity. So many eliminations. We move over to the low ground to a team that is below. Nice shots there by Wavy Jacob. Going to put him above for now. 33 damage above. We'll see if they go below. We always see that, but no. Surge will turn off for now.
And we're into the cascading placement points as well, so each trio that drops will be +1 point to the remaining trios. See 50 players up, 17 trios left. Your current leaderboard on the left-hand side, Godbro, Glace, and Fikoi tied up there with Zoomer, Yuumi, and Squishy at 17. Drew, Mescuddy, and Assault just behind at 15, so don't forget they are leaders then on eliminations being the difference, as all the placement points will be equal at this point. Not necessarily in a bad spot are Temple Symmetrical and Wavy Jacob, but the one thing to be cautious of is keeping an eye on the number of players who end up going down, because with Weeping Woods, it hasn't been denied through the Fireflies. That means there's tons of excess wood, which if players aren't forced into building with the hard mats early on, as we see right there, all of these trees are going to get refarmed. So if you get to that 7th zone Storm Surge, and we're still hanging around kind of like mid 40 players left, that's going to be really rough for Symmetrical and Temple. I'm interested to see where Snacky, Rex, and Fabs are, because again, they were doing fine on Storm Surge on the rotation, and they're going to early launch pad because it is an opposite side of the zone. They have to be careful because of the cover. They did opt to go all the way to the high and then try and get around to the front side of the zone. Not taking too much excess damage, so they're going to be happy with that, as, hey, they have priority position now. Everyone else is really slow on the uptake.
This is what you want to see from 2/3 of the team that just won the previous FNCS Dynamic Zell hostings, all going to fall in that rotation. They've taken the low ground priority. They said, it is our low ground. We want to claim it. But what can they find? Saki in the back looking to try to find any elimination goals, and Graham, unfortunately, going to fall down. Like fighting their own battles so close together. The high ground, though, I think it looks like it was Temple there for a second. No, Symmetrical, Wavy Jacob, and Temple going to be here. And the low ground, JJK Drew trying to make something happen, but unfortunately will fall as well. But look, now they're below Surge, and it's going to hit.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. However, that number went from 41 to 38 very quickly. 3 trios will be impacted by it, and they are one of them. And 260 basically means you have to jump in. You have to go super aggressive. Snacky picking up some eliminations in the feed. Aiden also going to be picking them up. So you can see the number is dropping relatively rapidly, but not quick enough for Wavy, Jacob, Temple, and Symmetrical. 83 below, 90 below. You can see the minis being given out saying, hey, who else still has a little bit of utility? Well, Snacky's like, I got utility, but I'm the only one picking up eliminations right now. Trying to get wall to wall, trying to fight, and doing a good job with it. As we say, we flip over. They are more than enough above. You can see 1200 on the right hand side, so they're going to pass that check mark.